that I came to Cambridge kicking and screaming, and I was very reluctant to come to Cambridge. I came to the Eastern Shore, coming out of Chicago, because I looked on the map, and it said Salisbury was here, and Ocean City was here. So I was going to be close to the water. They didn't tell me that on Fridays it could take you 3 hours to go to And Mr. Jarman's correct. This is my 14th move, and they all have been sports related. I am going to Jackson State University as the Director of Athletics. We have 18 sports, almost 500 student athletes, have a full-time staff of 45 and 15 part-time staff. And we have a budget of $6.2 million. And so this is some of the stuff that I love to do, and I'm excited about going back to Cambridge, leaving Cambridge and going to Jackson. But the thing that I will miss the most are the relationships that we built here. The people that have helped, and I didn't do it all by myself. It's the people around this table that helped me build the Cambridge campus. It was the people that bought into the concept of what we needed to do to take that institution forward. Mr. Hughes, I will forever be grateful to you for just believing in that concept and coming in here. I have to tell you the story. When I went to Baltimore and interviewed for the job, there was a woman that was from Hurlock, and she said, "If you can get Lorenzo Hughes, you'll be good." I didn't know Lorenzo Hughes, I didn't know anybody, so I wrote that name down. So when I went back for my second interview, she said, "Have you contacted Lorenzo Hughes?" I said, "No, I don't have the job yet." "If you can get Lorenzo Hughes, you'll be good." So I came back from that interview determined to get Lorenzo Hughes. It was something that was going to help Cambridge because she was so adamant about it. Then I went around and I talked to a lot of you and talked to a lot of people. As I got my list, I wrote names down. If somebody mentioned a name 3 times, Mr. Jarman, that's how I got you. The name came up 3 times. Then I made up a whole contact. One of the first people I met when I came to Cambridge was Barbara Wolf. Barbara, I will forever, you don't know how scared I was that day when I walked into that school. I had been here 2 weeks. And they said, "Go talk to Barbara Wolf." And I talked to Miss Wolf, she was a principal, and she took me in open arms. And she gave me another list. Then there was another woman that I went to, and I went and knocked on her door and said, "Can I come in?" And that was Miss Lake. For Miss Lake, that was the best conversation I ever had that day. I got so comfortable, I took my coat off, I took my shoes off, and I sat there and I poured my heart out to her that day. And she sat and she listened and she gave me another list. We started talking about bringing nursing, and Miss Mary, a student, came to me and said, "If you're going to do nursing and you're going to do it right, you got to get Mary Elliott. Miss Mary will help you." So and I said, "Mary Elliott," but she said Miss Mary, and I didn't know her last name or anything. So Miss Mary went on the list, and I called Miss Mary, and Miss Mary said, "Well, what do you want from me?" She said, and I am like, "Oh my God, this is going to go south." Miss Mary, I sat down and said, "I need your help. I need you to help me." Laid out the groundwork, and Miss Mary never said, she never looked back. So, Miss Mary, I love you, and I'm going to be emotional about leaving you, but I know that you will do well, and she never says no, and she helps everybody. Jake was my Chicago connection. I had come here missing Chicago, and I ran into Jake, and Jake's from Chicago. And we would sit down and have all of these Chicago stories, and I was homesick for Chicago. And I said, "Oh my God, we could just go back to Chicago." But then, and Jake, you believed in me, and you believed in what we were doing at STC, and for that I am thankful. Jake is the reason that we have those 36 brand new computers right there in our computer lab. He put me in touch with some good people who really, really helped me. Miss Stewart and the Salisbury people, you took a chance on me, and you said, "Come in here and teach these students." I went over to see Tarenda Thomas, and Tarenda was at the board, and you know, Tarenda's the kind of woman that can take a punch. So I love that about Dorinda, and she never showed any facial expression, but she took me in and she said, I'll do whatever I can to help you. So whatever I asked, whatever I needed, she did it. Then we have Troy at the radio station. I said, Troy, we got to talk about SDC. We got to get SD on the radio station. He said, you know what, we'll do a series. He brought me in, he did a 3-part series, and he did free advertising. For that, I am thankful. You can have all my unborn children. How about that? And then there's Mr. Potter. Mr. Potter, I will miss you. I love you more than life itself. Mr. Potter is a perfect student, and he did exactly what I asked him to do. And I said, just do what I say do, and you'll be fine. And he did it. He did it. And he graduated, went on to Wilmington College. Now he's famous. He got commercials all over the place. Yes. Miss King, you know what? I love you. She doesn't listen, but I do love her. She's like my oldest sister. I tell her what she needs to do, and she tells me why she don't need to do it. And I finally have to say, stop and listen to me and do it. You're well on your way. You know what? I'll commit to come back for your graduation. If that don't motivate you, nothing will. And here's Chris. Chris works at the board. Chris, you never said no when I asked you for anything. You did everything that I asked you, and you did it with open arms. And for that, I appreciate it. I really do. And of course, the Cambridge staff, I thank you. I am going to Jackson, and my heart will be in Cambridge until I get a paycheck. Ever need me, feel free to call me. I'll make sure my statistical information is back here. I do have an email address. It's vivian.l.fuller@jsums.edu. I do know that. So, but forever know that I do love you, and I thank you for taking the time out of your busy day and spending this time with me. Thank you.